Welcome.
Welcome to Switching Reels.
I was going to say that.
Hi, Connor.
Hi, Trenton.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
I'm doing
We watched one of your favorite movies today, right?
Yes, this is a top 5 for me.
Ah, great.
This is The
Lovely.
Departed, and I can already tell from your vibe that it was not for you.
Dearly departed, we are gathered here today. I can't go any further because it's all spoilers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have that in the summary.
I love it. I love it.
What did you think? I mean,
It was a very well done movie.
This is a 10 for me across the board. So,
enjoyment and technical?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Technically, I can't find any fault in it, actually.
Yeah.
Like, it's basically perfect, technically. And, like, so the annoying thing here is, like, there's the enjoyment that I feel like I should have, which is like a 9, and the enjoyment that I do have, which is like a 7 or a 6.
Oh, that's higher than I expected.
Yeah, it's
the 7 or 6 is higher than I expected.
It was very emotionally impactful. I don't know that I would watch it again, but it was very good, and it keeps you riveted the entire time.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a lot of good stuff about this movie. It's just the content is heavy.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that I would give a content warning for before I showed it to most people. But
yeah,
I also believe in throwing people into the deep end. So like
oh, it's deep, Connor. It's a little chilly.
Yeah, I mean this is the mafia movie for me.
Yeah,
I mean it's not even a mafia movie. This is the gangster movie for me. I like this better than Goodfellas. I don't like it better than The Godfather, but it's
a different vibe.
It has a different feel.
Like it's not like this is a mobster movie. Like Godfather is a it's a dynasty movie.
Yeah.
You know, like
kinda.
it's you very much more follow a lifetime in those movies and in that movie. Mm-hmm. So
this is like 5-6 years, something like that.
Exactly, if that, you know.
Yeah.
Like we do have kid to adulthood, but that's skipped very quickly.
Yeah, it is.
So. Oh, would you just take out? I might have to walk through the gate on this one. I don't know if I have the energy to climb up my spoiler ladder.
I'll lower the drawbridge for you, but before we do, I thought there was something else that we were supposed to touch on, but yeah, I will say like this is a masterpiece.
It is very good.
Also, I will also add, this is one of the movies that I go, if we were going to give Leo his Oscar for performance before The Revenant, because I don't know if I've said this on the podcast, but I kind of have this opinion that, yes, Leonardo DiCaprio deserved the Oscar, but not for the movie he got it for.
Yeah, what did he get it for again?
He got it for The Revenant.
Oh.
Which was a good movie. But the amount of the amount of
musical,
the amount of acting range he had to show for that movie was pretty minimal in comparison to some of the other stuff he's done.
Like this.
This is one of them.
This has a very wide range for Leo.
Yeah. And he does a great job at the whole thing.
He does an amazing job in all of it. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna go like who I would recommend this to is the one that like has a slightly more visceral reaction to it. If you like good movies, then watch it. But know that what you predict in this movie will come true. And
also the things that you don't predict in this movie will come true.
Yeah.
As well.
Exactly. And your heart will be sad. And there's a lot of death, a lot of cursing, a lot of talking about sex.
Yeah.
A lot of objectification of women.
Yeah.
Which is uncomfy.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I feel like I've definitely... The dialogue objectifies women in this.
Yes.
The camera does not as much as like...
It actually doesn't. It doesn't like... portray women.
It's not like a Michael Bay movie where you're like, okay, this is clearly just yeah.
Selling this woman if you could buy women.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, please. Anybody, don't.
Trenton is a little bit out of energy because he just watched The Departed for the first time, which, while I know it is not the same thrill ride for him that it is for me, I would pay so much money to be in your place right now, having just watched it again.
I can only imagine. Oh my goodness, that was a ride for sure.
It's been like a year or two since I last watched it, and so
I'm very happy. You're like, oh good, this is as close as I'll get.
Right, yeah.
Until I show my kids when they're 13.
No. I am not showing this to my kids when they're 13. This is like a 15 movie.
That's more reasonable.
Minimum.
I completely agree on the minimum. Ooh.
I think I watched it when I was 16 or something like that.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. That's
When did it come out? Do you know offhand?
2010 and one Best Picture.
A what?
And one Best Picture that year.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, it is a very good movie.
Yeah.
The further I get away from having to actually be experiencing the movie, the more I will like it. And so,
I mean, we've already seen that with this podcast.
Yeah,
like
all the time. The further away I get it from a movie, the more that I like it.
You'll start the podcast and be like, I didn't like this one very much. And then by the end, you'll be like, yeah, it was actually a really good movie.
A pretty good movie. Exactly. It's just I have to get the feel. Like I have a lot of feelings about this movie, and they're all sad. All of them are sad. And anyone that knows me knows that I am like exceptionally sentimental as it comes to feelings.
Yeah.
So.
And anyone who knows me knows that my separation when it comes to art is super strong.
Super strong. You're really good at it. It's crazy.
I don't know. I mean, I envy people that can easily get into certain sentiments with things. For me, I have to almost find hacks, and it's one of the reasons that like certain kids' movies will get to me in ways that other things can't.
Paddington.
Yes, Paddington. Oh my gosh, I love Paddington.
Mm-hmm.
But even like a lot of Pixar movies.
Yeah. We just finished Miyazaki, which is also a good example.
Yeah. Although Miyazaki does
it's
not...
a little different because it's like...
It doesn't get at my heart the same way.
No.
Like, I can appreciate it for its beauty and enjoy it while I'm watching it. But it doesn't affect me in the same way as, like, a Paddington.
Yeah.
Where, like, Paddington has the slightest inconvenience, and it just breaks my heart. Because I'm like, he's so good.
He's such a good boy.
Yeah, and I can't stand to see anything bad happen to him. In this, I'm like, they're all like various levels of bad, and this will be something we talk about more on.
Let's go on the spoiler wall.
Yeah.
Because there's one character who was just not bad, and in my heart,
You're talking,
who died. He was one of the oldest people in the movie.
Martin Sheen's character.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, we'll talk about him in a second.
Well, anyone who knows actors has already heard the spoiler because you said that he died.
Whoops. Sorry, guys.
If you haven't seen The Departed, go watch it.
Yeah, go watch The Departed.
And if you have seen The Departed, go rewatch it. Go rewatch it. Go on.
I need to make that one a reel. That's gonna be so good. All right. Let's go wall this thing.
Yeah.
All right. Spoiler wall time.
So I will say I think the cleanest way to go about this, maybe summaries first, but I really want to focus on one character at a time. Perfect. I think that would probably be the easiest way to break this movie apart.
Before that,
if
you like us, please like, comment, subscribe, send us emails, all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
That you want to do or don't want to do, and I asked you to do, so please do it. Okay, we're good.
Cool.
Okay, so we should totally do it character by character, but I do want to give my like overall impression of the story first.
Go for it.
Because this story is just a mirror from start to end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just a foil. It's just a reflection at all times. That's all that this movie does. The entire movie. So all that you as an audience need to like imagine, like, is imagine you have a kid with a very good upbringing who like gets just into the Italian mob.
Italian?
Where are they?
They're in Boston.
I know,
they're all Irish.
Irish. It's the same. No, it's not. Sorry. I know this. Anyway, who gets just like accepted.
This is a plot point, my man.
Groomed by the Irish mob, and becomes an informant for the police. And then you take that character and you 1-for-1 map it to the opposite, and you get the other main character. He has a really bad upbringing. All of his family was in some kind of crime.
Except for his dad.
Mm-hmm. And he wants to be a cop. He wants to go and do some good. And he becomes an undercover cop.
Mm-hmm.
To parallel with the... he's a rat in crime. And you have the other character, which is a rat in police. And you just follow that story to the end, where everyone dies. And then you're done.
Yeah.
That's the movie for you.
I can't really dispute that. But yes, this entire movie is a mirror. And what I love about it is that it even mirrors like little things in ways that are super subtle.
Exactly. Like it's a just like you can trace what's on the parallel for the mirror ship and what's on both. Like, it's crazy.
And then there's a character that you don't even realize is on either side of the mirror, and he's been there the whole movie.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, so you have to inform me on that one.
Oh, that's Frank. He's an informant for the FBI. But he's also like the epitome of the mob.
Yes.
So he's just literally standing in the exact middle.
Yeah.
On either sides of the law, the whole movie.
Yeah.
And that's why he's untouchable until somebody basically says no.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There's so much of this. Like, but when I was talking about the subtle mirroring, I'm like, the fact that we get the final shot of the movie drawn on a napkin partway through the film.
That was really good. Now that you mention it, I hadn't thought about that. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And I don't know, there's so much going on here.
I was probably almost nearly halfway through the film. Just a bit over half.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go character by character, like you were saying.
Yeah. Let's start with... I have the least to say about Frank, weirdly enough.
Cool.
But he might be the one that I would start with.
He's the instigator.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say a whole lot about him because I feel like he isn't the most like fleshed out character. Like we get a good idea of who his character is, but he doesn't have a whole lot of like difference in emotion. He kind of, as much as he feels like a real person, he is unchanging from start to finish.
Yep.
And he just is the mob, like through and through.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack Nicholson plays him super well.
So
I feel like the one thing that we see change is that he gets more and more sort of crazy and reckless.
Yeah.
The closer we get to the end.
Exactly.
And that feels like such a gradual process.
It does.
And I think you could even take the first scene of the movie and put it next to the last one and be like, okay, that's the same dude, but he's definitely in a different place.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially when like thinking about how careful he is with every single step. There was something that I can't remember. It was while I was watching that I remember going, he would not have made that decision at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the tails.
Yeah.
Because you get
getting rid of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you see very early in the film, he's got a tail partway
Yeah.
through, and he loses the tail.
Yeah.
And he does it very
Effectively.
and succinctly, and you go, okay, they got him on running a red light. That's it.
Yeah.
At the end, he's basically just saying like, get the tail off of me. I'm not going to like do
anything
any
about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he becomes very like hands off and puppet mastery, and in a way that feels reckless, at least to me. Yeah. So I thought he was very well done all the way around. He just didn't. There isn't a ton to say about him.
And then he has a reflection who dies halfway through the movie in the main
Captain.
what was his name?
Started with a Q, and that's why I always forget it. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, but the main older.
The guy played by Martin Sheen.
Exactly, the Martin Sheen actor, who has some very tough choices that he has to make through the entire movie, and you can tell that he's rather conflicted about them while he has to make them, while also knowing that this is unfortunately the thing he has to do to stay within the system.
Yeah.
And I think he is likely one of the most redeemable characters, if not the most redeemable character in the movie. Him and actually I think his deputy guy, but the angry staff sergeant.
Yeah, Digman.
Yeah, Damon. He was pretty good too. He has a little more violency things going on for him, but
yeah, it feels more like just fairly contained anger at all times.
Yes.
More than. It doesn't seem like he has any ethical problems, but he definitely has some emotional ones.
Yeah, he does. And so I think they're the.
And they make you hate him so early on.
Yeah.
But in a way that it's hard not to kind of be
on his side.
On his side, yeah.
Like he has a very interesting bluntness to him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I completely agree with that.
Which, yeah, while we're on the topic,
we're on to a new character.
I feel like Alec Baldwin's character, who I can never remember the name of.
Oh yeah, I mean,
kind of perfectly mirrors him as well, because you have a character who's very blunt, very straightforward, to the point where he cannot function well in the system that he's in. And then you have Alec Baldwin's character who, while he is technically on the side of right and seems to be doing everything he can to make that happen, everything around it seems kind of like slimy about it.
Yeah.
And I think intentionally so. Like the fact that he celebrates the Patriot Act when they're he talks about stuff in a very like sort of political gaming the system kind of way.
Yes.
There's something about him that makes you go, you're not a bad guy, but you are a bad guy.
Exactly. Like morally, I don't know that I would be friends with you. You're staying on the right side of the law, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Completely agree. So then I think we go to the main characters.
Okay. Yeah.
So Matt Damon's character, Sullivan, I believe this is his last name.
Yeah, Sullivan.
Yeah. Is just like a very like the epitome of him is self-serving.
Yeah.
From a childhood age, he's like, I would like to make some more money and be a little bit more in power. I will do that.
Yeah.
And then he like continues going through the system, getting promotions, getting good grades, getting like being a pristine candidate. And also, I don't like the phrase like have your cake and eat it too, because it doesn't make sense to me. Like if you have cake,
if you have the cake, the whole point is to eat it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like anyway. So, but if you're American, you know what the phrase means.
We both have been thinking about this, I'm sure. Probably more than this phrase is worth.
Like, it's just, of course, if you have your cake, you're going to eat it.
Yeah. So, okay, your options are to...
Watch the cake.
No, hold on.
Okay,
Your
good.
options are to either eat the cake or let it go stale.
Yeah. What do you,
Why
why
would you ever not just eat
eat
the cake?
Like, is there a cultural piece that I'm missing where people just like
No.
looking at really good cakes?
No.
You know, like they're proud about the fact that they made a really cool cake.
Okay, if you just made a cake, it would be you can make your cake and eat it too.
Exactly. But like have your cake and eat it, like you're gonna do both. You're gonna do both.
All right.
Any and
Anyway,
every
Matt
time.
Damon's character.
Is very much trying to have his cake and eat it too, and succeeds for most of the movie until he gets his brains blown out.
Yeah.
So he is doing his best just to have a nice, generally rigorous life. He does normal crime things. He also has connections with the Irish mob.
Yeah.
And by
you mean police things.
Oh, what
the first time. You said crime things.
Oh. I meant anti-crime things, but
yeah.
So yes, police things. He has a good thing going for him there.
Yeah.
He went through police college and everything. He became a state trooper. And also just so happens to be very, very deeply tied with the leader of the Irish mob in Jake? Jared?
What?
Who's this guy? Who's the guy that we started with?
His name. Jack Nicholson? Or Frank?
Frank!
Yeah.
There it is. Thanks. Appreciate it. So we have this, like, Matt Damon played it so well, too, because Matt Damon is perfect. You know? You look at Matt Damon, you're like, this guy can't do any wrong. And so when he starts doing wrong, you're like, you feel like you're being gaslit by his face. You know? Like, look at this puppy dog. He's not doing anything wrong. Yes, he just killed 6 people, or like is helping crime to happen, or like
I think I've just seen Matt Damon do enough bad things in movies where I'm just like, I see his face,
but he never
and I'm
wants to. You know, he's always that character that has the line like, "You made me do this." You know, like he has no choice. His face, he just attracts bad things. That's what his face says. And so anytime you watch him do something like that, and then like Leo had a really, really good opposite kind of face in this one, and like get up in this case.
Well, he looks and is like, he looks like he's either on drugs or in withdrawals for almost the entire movie.
Yeah, like he needs things to be able to cope with how his life is,
right?
Which is objectively more stressful than Matt Damon's character.
Oh yeah.
And like you get a fun like parallel there too, because sometimes I feel like the story is trying to make you compare the stresses of these two people,
right?
And it just really makes Matt Damon look bad for feeling like he has so much pressure being this informant for the Irish mob.
Right,
and then you switch over to Leo again.
Well, you look at it from the lens of at basically any time Matt Damon could get out.
Anytime. Literally anytime.
Yeah.
Like, will he die? Maybe.
And Billy cannot get out.
Cannot.
He's trying to for like half of the movie,
if not more. You know, like he goes into it and then he's like, "No, I'm done." Essentially, like very quickly, he's like, "I don't know if I can keep doing this."
Yeah, and then he's just stuck there.
And he's just stuck there for the rest of the movie until he dies.
Yeah. Yeah. One other thing that I did want to touch on, and I think they did a pretty cool thing with this, is how subtle it was that now I'm forgetting her name.
Veronica? I don't think it's it. The therapist.
Yeah, the therapist.
Psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist, yeah. She knows that it's Billy's baby. She definitely knows.
Whoa. I didn't make that connection.
you typically don't pick it up until your second or third time watching
That
at
makes
the
total
earliest.
sense.
But like when he goes to give her the envelope and
She has
tells
something to say.
she has something to say
Yeah.
and she doesn't say it.
Mm-hmm.
When she listens to the tape, she says to him, and I thought I was the liar, and then closes the door. That's the last we hear from her.
Exactly.
Until the funeral. And then she storms past him and he asks, "What about the baby?" And she doesn't say anything to him.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you're looking for it, it's really, really clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, I had a little bit of help. I saw the movie that this movie was based on.
Oh, what was it?
Infernal Affairs.
Oh.
It's a movie that I always think that I own, and I don't.
Nice.
I don't own it, and it bothers me. I need to get it just so that I can stop thinking that I have it when I don't. But yeah, it's basically this story, but playing out in a very different way. And frankly, Scorsese just knows what to do with this kind of a thing, and
it's so well.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I have heard people say that Infernal Affairs is the better movie. I strongly disagree. I've seen it. It's still great.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be on the top 250 list. I think it got pushed down.
So we've gone over Matt Damon's character pretty well. Like, he's very good at lying.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a very understood skill set. And he, like, you can see that he, like, grew up in the mob. Like, just like you can see that Billy was a police officer at some point, like, or what was training to be a cop at some point. You get both worlds pretty easily in both of them, and when you switch, there are so many times where, like, I love the weird pan cut, not pan, like just jump cuts to different scenes.
Yeah.
They don't give you anything. They don't give you any forewarning. They just jump to it, and you know what's happening. And you know why it's, and then it jumps back, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense.
Right, yeah.
Like when they're having dinner in the Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
And it jumps over to Billy.
Well, and there's some really weird artistic choices that I love, and it adds to the feeling of the movie. One of them is, like, you will see the first frame that's still in the same scene. So it'll, like, change shots, have one frame left, and then it'll switch to a different scene. And it just gives the entire movie sort of like this grimy feel to it.
Yeah.
Almost like under edited, despite the fact that it's completely intentional. In order to make this work, you would have to be so precise.
Yes.
But it makes it feel like it's not.
Exactly.
And it's great.
Then you get the nice parallel with that, with just how well everything is shot, you know?
Right.
Like, and like how everything is thrown together. I also love the multiple times where, like, they use music to carry you for a second, and then it stops to make an impact.
Right.
And it'll go and start again. Like, the soundtrack and how the soundtrack is used is just really funny.
I know so many people who absolutely hate the way that they use is it Shipping Off to Boston by Flogging Molly? It's the song that they play it twice in this. Cool. And both times it's just ridiculously loud over the movie.
It's so funny.
I think it's hilarious.
I think it's great. I think it's a fantastic choice. And that, like, it adds something to it. Like, it's a, like, hey, it's either we're very focusing or montaging, we're going somewhere. Something is happening, and then it stops.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no. Like, I feel like it adds some of the panic that the people are feeling in the movie.
Yeah.
Because Sullivan is feeling panicked a bunch, and so is Billy all the time.
Yeah. Yep.
So, it's beautiful. And then we have the nice middle point of the mirror as well in the psychiatrist, who, like, is physically intimate with both characters, is involved professionally with one and relationally with the other.
Right.
And is like attracted to both, but she's still almost always on the line.
Well, and you can tell that the one that she's professionally attached to, she has a stronger emotional attachment to.
Yeah.
And the one that she's physically, or not physically, the one that she's
Logistically?
relationally
Yeah, relationally.
attached to, she keeps, like, it's almost like her emotions are going one way and what she's actually doing is going the other way.
Yeah.
Like, she does all of the steps with
Sullivan.
Yeah. Colin.
Yeah.
She does all the steps with him. Like, she goes on the first date. They go move in together. They get engaged, right? Like, all of those things are, like, step by step by step, the way that a relationship is supposed to go. And you can see that as she goes further that way, she gets emotionally pulled toward Billy.
Yep.
And it's so perfectly done.
Yeah.
This movie is wonderful.
Oh, that's amazing. Also, like, the innuendos that are on both sides of the scale are just interesting. Like, the fact that both sides, like, are as vulgar as they are as it comes to sex and as it comes to,
I mean,
like,
the whole I think a lot of what we're seeing in this can be boiled down to that first speech at the beginning of the movie. And that's why when we got interrupted a little bit at the beginning, I was like, okay, no, we need to, like, watch this, because there's two main points. The first is, nobody gives it to you, you got to take it. That's the first point. And that kind of exemplifies Frank's character.
Yeah.
And to a degree, it also exemplifies Colin's.
Yeah.
The second point, and what I kind of think is the thesis for the whole movie, is, you know, they told us growing up that we could be cops or we could be criminals. My question is, when you're looking down the barrel of a loaded gun, what's the difference?
Yeah.
And so, like, this is kind of doing, we'll get to Heat. It's kind of doing what Heat's doing, where it's drawing this parallel between the life of a cop and the life of a criminal. Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
But it doesn't like to just draw the line and call it good. It's like, no, you got the cop who's also the criminal, or the criminal who's also the cop.
Exactly.
And I love that.
It's beautiful. Again, it's the mirror. It's you get a perfect person, you get a criminal, and you swap the top halves. And then you have the story.
Yeah.
And Colin and his, like, sticking to the letter of what he said he was going to do. Like, he still nominated Billy for the the medal, and actually he was just gonna go pay Billy and find some other way of like making sure that he didn't talk, or maybe just live with the secret forever. Which he said that he would do to the psychiatrist. So whew. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then one of the last scenes of just everyone shooting each other, I was like, yeah.
I did appreciate how you didn't put all the pieces together when that first happened.
Yeah. No, nope. I did not.
Because I could hear it.
Yeah.
But when Billy gets shot, you're like, yep, that makes sense.
Then when the other agent gets shot, you're like,
yeah.
Oh. After that, you're pretty sure this other guy's not going to live with Colin still alive. But,
well, yeah. I mean, and frankly,
Get it? Frankly?
I was thinking about it. I'm like, he definitely made the most logical decision there. Like, the only reason he got at all was because Dignan was still around.
Yeah. That's who shot him.
Oh, you didn't pick that up?
No, I knew he was an important character. I just couldn't place his face with the
Oh,
outfit.
okay. Yeah.
It makes total sense. That's Stigman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he could put all of those pieces together very easily.
Right.
So that means the only one alive that knows is the psychiatrist.
The two. Stigman also knows.
Stigman also knows.
Yeah.
More parallels.
I'll be honest. I don't understand the symbolism of the Capitol always being in the background.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure either.
Like, my best guess is it was Scorsese wanting to say something about like the corruption of government,
Yeah.
but it seems like too weak of a connection for the whole movie.
And we do have the rat underneath it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Although I'm assuming that's the state building.
Yeah.
If that's...
It could also be a church.
It's not
of some kind.
It's not a church. It's
Not
definitely a
not
government building.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. The only reason I say that is because I've seen a couple like mosques have similar like coloring to it.
Yeah. I'm thinking it might be the police headquarters, maybe. But if it is the state building, then I don't understand. And if it's the police headquarters, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, a little more sense. That makes sense to me as well.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but the parallels, like just like if you can get past the fact that you will likely be uncomfortable unless you're like Connor, watching the movie just for the parallels and laughing at the parallels that they make the entire movie.
Yeah.
That also aren't far-fetched. You know, like they're not they are forcing parallels, but they made the entire story to just be a parallel.
Right, yeah.
Like it's just
it doesn't feel forced.
Yeah.
I'd say the other thing is the dialogue is beautifully written. Like, even when you hate what the people are saying, it's still beautifully written.
It's really, 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 really good.
Like, I enjoy romantic comedies from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
This has the best meet cute scene I have seen, period.
Yeah, no, like absolutely.
Just holding the elevator up.
Holding the elevator. I was so uncomfortable with him holding the elevator. It's a minute almost of this guy just holding an elevator on the floor that he's on so he can flirt with this woman.
And it's beautiful.
It is. It's societally uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, weirdly, as much as I love this movie, and I feel like there's a lot more to talk about, I can't think of...
It's not a complex movie.
It really isn't. I mean, it is, but it isn't.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of, like, nuance to it.
Yeah.
But it isn't... I don't think it's actually complex. You know, like either a good soup or a good burger, it's... You know what the ingredients are, and you can go and, like... pick out the nuances of flavor, but you know what you're getting, and it's very easy to describe. It's just...
I'd say this is like a chili.
I'm fine with the chili.
You know
the too.
You know the basics.
Yeah.
Right? But it's the little things that separate a great chili from a mediocre one.
Absolutely.
And I would say, like, The Departed is great. I could probably name a series of crime thrillers that are mediocre and would look very similar on the surface, but when you really get into it, they're not
the same.
No,
not at all. Completely agree.
Yeah,
I like chili. That's a good one.
Yeah,
you can put a lot of stuff in chili.
Sorry?
So you can put a lot of stuff in chili.
You can.
It's very versatile.
Yeah. I did forget what we're watching next week. I know we've got two. I know the next two, I just don't know what order they're in.
They both are. I'm both going to be sad in both of them, Connor. Are we back into the sad movie phase? I had like so long, Connor, of not sad movie phase.
Well, let's see.
It's like 4 months of Miyazaki, just pretty colors. Now we're back to
Okay,
the sad
so
movie.
next week is rated R.
Okay.
It's not very violent.
What is it?
It's Whiplash.
Oh, this is gonna be okay. I think I've heard of this one.
It's intense.
No.
It's just intense in a different way.
If it's intense in a different way, it's called Whiplash. It's not going to be about bull riding.
It won't be. It's about drumming.
Oh,
It's a music movie.
but now notice he didn't say musical.
Oh no, it's not a musical.
Imagine an R-rated musical. Oh wait, Edward Scissorhands.
Nope. Try again.
Sweeney Todd.
There you go.
Thanks.
Edward Scissorhands is a charming movie that has no musical numbers. But it does have Johnny Depp
Just that's
wielding knives.
Is he really wielding them? Do you wield your hands?
Yes.
Yeah. At all times.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with yes.
Okay, cool. This isn't a hand podcast, so I'll let you have that one.
Tune in next week for when we talk about other hands.
More hands. We'll get a deck, and we can put our hands on it.
A deck?
Yeah, we have all hands on deck.
Boo! All right, let's end this, please.
Wait, how do we end this?